Hello and welcome to a new ship tour, and today we're taking a look at the most luxurious river cruise ship on the Danube, the Riverside Mozart. The ship was built already in 1987, is 120.44 meters long, 22.85 meters wide, and can take up to 160 guests on board. With a width of 22.85 meters, the ship is about double as wide as a regular river cruise ship, and that means that we have a lot of space in the interior. And now we're gonna take a look at the ship. From the inside, we are starting on deck number 1, which is the Harmony deck, and there we have mostly cabins. All cabins on this deck are so-called Harmony suites with a size of 20.3 square meters, and those cabins are actually the smallest ones on board. There are only outside cabins for passengers on board. This is so-called a semi-catamaran, which is a quite interesting concept of building a ship. I will talk about this later on. Here in the front we have the gym, which is huge. Of course, we have 22.85 meters of space, and that means that we have a huge gym here on board with a lot of sports equipment, so you can do actually whatever you want here in the gym. I've actually seen smaller gyms on ocean ships, and in general this ship gives me more feeling of an ocean ship than a river ship, so this is a really unique ship, and it was the biggest river cruise ship in Europe until 2019 when the Amor Magna was christened. Here we have the second part of the gym, so we do actually have a lot of different sports equipment, so you can do all kinds of training here on board of the Riverside Mozart. And now we've already seen everything on deck 1, so we can now continue on to deck number 2. Therefore we have to go up this quite steep stairs, but there's also an elevator available that we will take a look at the end of the video. We're now on deck 2, which is the Seahorse deck, and now we are already getting to my personal highlight on board, and that is the Fehi Spa area. It is located in the front above the gym, and it is huge. You maybe have seen some spa areas in my other videos about river cruise ships, and this has nothing to do with what you get here. We have a huge pool that is even big enough for swimming, as it has a counter-current system. We have an additional hot tub. We have this relaxation area with the windows to the front. Yes, this is actually the front of the ship, so you have perfect view. Then we have, of course, treatment rooms, so we have toilets, a sauna and a steam sauna, and we do have a hairdresser and beauty salon, so everything is available. Like on an ocean ship, you can have a proper spa day here on board. This ship is built as a semi-catamaran, and that means that there are two bows, one on the left and one on the right, and the part in the middle is not out of the water, it's also in the water, but not as deep as the actual ship's bows. And this spa area here is located in between those two bows, and that's why we have this fantastic view here with these big panoramic windows to the front. And that is very nice. This is my favorite area here on board, and for sure the nicest spa area I've ever seen on a river cruise ship. We're now heading on to the aft of the ship. Here we do have a small pantry with a small seating area, so here you can get coffee all day long in self-service, and right next to it we have one of the entrances. And here we can see the reception, and on the other side we have a small library, and the elevator was also shortly inside here in this shot. And here we can see the small library where you can get some books to either read them here or take them, of course, with you for the duration of your cruise. And here we have another entrance, of course. Here we can see the library in the picture, so it's also quite nice seating area. And this is the entrance. Additionally, here on deck 2 we have a lot of cabins, including the biggest cabin on any river cruise ship in Europe. The owner's suite is 82 square meters big, so this is a huge, luxurious cabin. As I said, this is the most luxurious river cruise ship in Europe, and I think you can see why. But there's one question: how can a ship that was built in 1987 look like this? And that is due to the interesting history of this ship, which I will talk about later on. Here we can see the Bistro, which is the first restaurant on board. It is used for coffee and tea and small snacks during the afternoon, also for small lunch service, and sometimes in the evening you can get a nice tapas or other specialties also here in the Bistro, the first restaurant on board, located on deck 3, the Riverside deck in the middle of the ship. And from here we can continue on to the so-called Connoisseur Club. The Connoisseur Club is a smoking lounge. Here you can smoke cigars, of course no cigarettes, but you are allowed to smoke cigars here inside the ship, as there is a dedicated cigar smoking lounge, which we can see here on the left side. Of course it's completely closed off from all other areas in the ship and has special ventilation systems, so you will not smell any smoke outside of this room, but you have the chance to sit here in a nice relaxing atmosphere and smoke a cigar if you want to do so. And as I said, the ship has a quite interesting history. It was built for a company called Erste Donau-Dampfschifffahrtsgesellschaft. Later on it was sold to different operators until in the year 2015 Crystal River Cruises purchased this ship and completely refurbished it from scratch, so they made a completely new modern ship out of this ship, and that's why it is looking so modern. Crystal Cruises went bankrupt in 2022, and starting in March 2023 Riverside Cruises took over the ship and is now operating the most luxurious river cruise ship on the Danube. And this, what we can see here, is the Palm Court, which is the main lounge on board. This is the panoramic lounge. Here behind the curtains we have a view to the front. Due to the winter season the curtain was closed, as there were a few things stored in front of the windows, but in summer season this is also open, and there's also an access to the front terrace that we will take a look later on. Here we have a few more impressions from this panoramic lounge, which is a very nice looking, exactly how you would expect it from a 5-star hotel or ship. Drinks are not included in the fare, but there's the possibility to book an all-inclusive fare, but also the prices on board are actually lower than I would expect. They are lower than in a standard 5-star hotel ashore, so that was also quite nice. So it is not absolutely necessary to buy the all-inclusive package. Unless you like to drink a bit more and want to be flexible, then I would recommend booking the all-inclusive fare. I will talk a bit more about the life on board, about the cabins, and about the food quality on board in the upcoming videos. In this video we will just focus on the ship itself. And we are now continuing on to the Cove. The Cove is the second lounge and bar on board, conjoined with the Palm Court, but this is the area where you're sitting right next to the bar. There is a musician on board, which is much better than on most river cruise ships. As you probably know, on regular river cruise ships the musicians are sometimes not the best. But here, of course, there's a very good musician on board, and he's playing here in the corner, so you can decide if you want to listen to the music of the musician, or if you want to go to the other side of the ship in the Palm Court, they will hear almost nothing of the music. In general, there is not too much entertainment on board, as this is a very relaxed ship, so there's just a very basic entertainment on board, and it also has a very relaxed atmosphere on board, so you can also travel with this ship if you don't like the, let's say, stiff atmosphere in some 5-star hotels, because you do not have that on board of the Riverside Mozart. Here we just saw the atrium area with another seating area, and now we are in the waterside restaurant, which is the main restaurant on board. Here we can see the wonderful entrance area. And now we can take a look at the restaurant itself, also looking absolutely beautiful with a lot of space. Of course, there are no reserved tables. You will get assigned to a table every evening when you're greeted in the restaurant, and the crew will take you to your table for the evening. So this is also very relaxed and comfortable. Here we can see the buffet area that is used for breakfast. And here we have another look into the restaurant. And behind the wine coolers here is the so-called vintage room, and that is a specialty dining room. There's one big table, and there you can have an even more exclusive dining experience. But I can tell you already now that the food quality on board is amazing. It was the best food I've ever had on any ship. Of course, I will talk a bit more about this in the next videos, but I can already tell you do not need the vintage room to get good food on board, because the food quality is insane. And I will, of course, talk much more about this in the upcoming videos. Here we have some more pictures from the wonderful Waterside restaurant, which is the main restaurant on board. Second restaurant we've seen so far, but there is another restaurant here on board of the Riverside Mozart, and we're gonna see that in a second. When we've seen all pictures here from the Waterside restaurant, it's time to step out on the promenade. There's a walk around promenade on the Riverside Mozart. That's something you will find on older, more luxurious cruise ships, but it's very rare on a river cruise ship. But here on the Mozart, we do have that. We've just walked past the kitchen, and now we are at the aft of the ship, and here we have another small terrace where you can enjoy this view over the stern wave of the ship. You have an access to the sundeck that we will see at the end of the video, and we do have the third restaurant here, which is called Blue, and it's a bistro style restaurant which is mainly open for lunch, where you, for example, get burgers or smaller dishes, and I will also show you a bit more about the Blue in the upcoming videos. But here we have some more pictures of this wonderful and beautifully designed restaurant. So we are back at the terrace at the aft of the ship, and now we're heading all the way to the front. As promised, I will show you now the front terrace in front of the palm court. Of course, we're gonna use the time lapse again to get all the way to the front of the ship, past the Waterside restaurant and past the Connoisseur Club and the palm court. And here we are at the front. Here on the right side you can see a bit of furniture that is now stowed under the roof to keep it safe from the rain and the wind in the winter. Usually that is stored on the sun deck and all over the front terrace. And then, of course, the curtains in the lounge are also open, and you have direct access from the lounge to the outdoor terrace at the front of the ship. But now in the winter season, that was used as a storage space. Also because we had a very high water on the Danube, and therefore not everything could be stored on the sun deck. That's why the sun deck was also closed during the cruise for a long time, but luckily I took a lot of videos on the very first day of the cruise in Passau, where we had the wonderful weather and everything was set up nicely. So here we can see the very luxurious and spacious sun deck with a lot of individual space. We do have another bar here, a fourth bar and lounge area on board. The other ones being the Cove, the palm court and the atrium. And also here, as I said, we have a bar that can be completely lowered if the ship is sailing past some low bridges. Here in the front we have a herb garden where all the herbs used in the kitchen are locally grown on board. That's also pretty cool. And here we can see the wheelhouse and the huge spacious sun deck with so much space. This is also very, very luxurious and nice, and also very, very comfortable. As you can see, very nice furniture. So this is for sure the nicest sun deck I've ever seen on a river cruise ship. And now, as promised, we will take a look at a very interesting elevator. Doors are automatic, and as soon as the door has closed, there's also this moving door here on the inside closing, and now we can go all the way from deck 1 to deck 3, but there's no elevator to the sun deck. And that's already it for my ship tour around the wonderful Riverside Mozart of Riverside Cruises. I hope you enjoyed this video. Here you can see when the next video will be uploaded, where I will show you my cabin in detail, and I will talk a bit more about the life on board and the amazing food quality. Here you can also see the name of the song, and if you like this video, I would be very grateful for a like, comment or a shared video link. And if you want to see more cruise videos and of course the upcoming videos from the Riverside Mozart, make sure to follow, and I hope to see you in my next video.